Classified documents are found in former Vice President Mike Pence's home.
And in sports, Ohio men's basketball prepares to take on Western Michigan. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Joe Collins.
And I'm Taylor Mondragon. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. A utility executive of First Energy Corporation testifies the company was bleeding cash during the trial against former Speaker Larry Householder. Householder faces bribery charges after receiving $61 million in exchange for passing a $1 billion nuclear power plant bailout. The company's financial position was called into question when visiting the bribery accusations. Prosecutors also focus on the 501c4 nonprofit group, Generation Now, that Householder, Matt Borges, and 3 others are accused of conspiring with. Generation Now has pled guilty along with 2 Householder's associates. Both Borges and Householder's attorneys claim both parties are innocent.
West Virginia senators passed a bill allowing concealed carry permit holders to bring firearms onto colleges and university campuses. Higher education leaders raised concerns about student safety, avidly opposing the bill. Though it allows concealed carry, the bill strictly prohibits open carry of firearms on college and university campuses. The bill was sponsored entirely by Republican senators. Titled the Campus Self-Defense Act, the bill headed to the Republican supermajority House of Delegates.
The city of Belle Pre is working to address issues regarding its medical services. Mayor Mike Lorenz said that the city has reached out to Columbus for guidance during Monday's Belle Pre City Council meeting. The council approved an ordinance for the employment of temporary employees for emergency medical services. This comes on the same day that the city's administration announced that their contract with the Belle Pre Volunteer Fire Department had been suspended.
West Virginia is receiving over $620,000 for the children in the juvenile justice system. Senator Shelley Moore Caputo and Senator Joe Manchin made the announcement to help kids who are incarcerated and prevent others from entering the criminal justice system. The U.S. Department of Justice funding will support 9 program areas in West Virginia's juvenile system. This includes programs designated to prevent and reduce hate crimes, projects designed to protect juvenile civil rights, and providing mental health services for incarcerated juveniles.
Good evening, everybody. I'm weather forecaster Cam Kuzno, and today we have had a nice day of weather so far. Currently in Athens, we're looking at temperatures at around 38 miles per hour with clear skies, but those are expected to sort of messy up a little bit as the night continues on. We have a relative humidity of 68%. And our pressure is at about 30.2 inches of mercury. It's rising right now, but that is expected to drop as the night goes on. Today in Athens, our high temperature was 45 degrees, and our low temperature is 30 degrees tonight, which will cause some issues as we are expected to see a storm head our way. And over there, towards the Ozark Mountains in Missouri, is going to be that low pressure system going to churn, and it's going to make our way up through the Midwest and into Ohio, where it will sort of reach us at a very unfortunate time of day. We'll hear a little bit more about that during the full forecast. And that's all I have for our first look at the weather. Now back to you, Taylor.
Thank you. A dead body found in Mexico is identified as the missing Cincinnati architect.
These days we've just been praying and praying that it's not him, it's not him.
22nd, 36-year-old Jose Gutierrez, the oldest of 7 siblings, boarded a flight for Mexico to meet with his fiancée, Daniela Picardo, to plan out their wedding. Jose's family said they hadn't heard from the couple since they went out to dinner a few days into the trip with Daniela's sister and cousin. And on Tuesday, Jose's family called Daniela's parents, who informed everyone that authorities found 4 to 5 bodies and identified 3 of them as Daniela, her sister, and cousin.
Bowling Green State University settles with parents of hazing victims. Parents of Stone Falls received a $2.9 million settlement from the university. It is the largest sum paid out by a public Ohio university in a hazing case. Stone Falls was a sophomore at BGSU when prosecutors say the 20-year-old was forced to drink a liter of whiskey, leading to his death. 8 members of the Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity on Bowling Green's campus were convicted in connection to Stone's death. Stone's mother, Sherry Foltz, says though the money won't bring her son back, they will put it towards a foundation in Stone's name, helping educate about hazing prevention.
Obviously, the money has nothing that means anything to us because it's not going to bring Stone back. But what it does allow is us to move forward and help us through the foundation, as Rex mentioned, continue the education piece of it, and teach the students, the community, the parents, about hazing, and we can continue our fight in saving lives.
The university says that the fraternity has been expelled from the campus. The Ohio University Police Department is asking students for help in a felonious assault case reported on campus. According to an OUPD, received an anonymous report of a felonious assault occurring outside of Tiffin Hall at 1 p.m. earlier today. OUPD was advised that the anonymous note was placed under a resident assistant's door. The note alleges that a female was quote, attacked and strangled outside the Tiffin Hall around 3 a.m. on January 21st. OUPD says they have reviewed video from around Tiffin but is unable to find any corroborating footage. Due to the anonymous nature of the report, OUPD is unable to investigate further at this time. OUPD says if you have additional information about the incident, contact OUPD at 740-593-1911 or police@ohio.edu. Coming up after the break, what we know about the classified documents found at Mike Pence's home.
And what lawmakers are doing in the wake of recent mass shootings. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
How does chemistry become biology? I'm David Pogue. In this Nova miniseries, the blueprints of life. The molecules that make us.
That's only half the amount of fats in my body.
Absolutely.
And the chemistry.
Cell division.
We live for.
It's a really cool enzyme because it makes life on Earth possible.
Beyond the elements, life. On Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Get out! On Finding Your Roots, Cyndi Lauper discovers a rebel.
I know I'm always fighting the man. Now I know where it comes from.
Jamie Chung's ancestor is honored.
No way. That's my cousin.
Yeah. And Danny Trejo's relatives journey to America.
I've got history.
And Danny, they were on foot, man.
That's heavy.
Finding Your Roots. New episode January 24th on PBS and the PBS app.
In these waters lies a complex world, a natural realm built on relationships. We are piecing together clues like a jigsaw puzzle, slowly revealing parts of the picture. Take a deep breath and discover the soul of the ocean.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Now streaming on the PBS app, Antiques Road Trip.
I like it.
20 seasons.
Ooh, pretty good, yeah.
Of antiques experts.
Oh, stop it.
Scouring Britain in classic cars.
Yeah, baby.
On the hunt for hidden treasures.
I think I found something.
It's brilliant.
The goal? To make the biggest profit at auction.
You're some man.
There'll be worthy winners and valiant losers. Antiques Road Trip. Stream all episodes now with Passport on the PBS app.
Welcome back. A new discovery of classified documents have been found at a government official's private home. Classified documents have been found at former Vice President Mike Pence's home in Indiana. The discovery was made by one of Pence's lawyers. The documents marked as classified have been turned over to the FBI. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York says that bipartisan legislation is in the works and, like other lawmakers, supports the appointment of a special prosecutor.
Peters is looking at bipartisan legislation in terms of classified documents. I support his efforts. In the meantime, on the specific cases, the appropriate thing to do is have special prosecutor, and that's what's happening.
It's not known exactly what they are related to or what their level of classification is. The FBI and Justice Department have launched a review of the situation. The Justice Department announced it's suing the tech giant Google for monopolizing the online advertising space. The complaint alleges Google has used anti-competitive mergers to acquire rivals, and that Google has, quote, bullied advertisers into using its proprietary technology products. Attorney General Merrick Garland says that Google's anti-competitive conduct extends to 3 significant elements.
First, Google controls the technology used by nearly every major website publisher to offer advertising space for sale. Second, Google controls the leading tool used by advertisers to buy that advertising space. And third, Google controls the largest ad exchange that matches publishers and advertisers together each time that ad space is sold.
The suit marks the Biden administration's first blockbuster antitrust case against a big tech company. The Trump administration sued Google in 2020 for anti-competitive harms in search and search advertising. That case is still ongoing.
Lawmakers in Washington, D.C. are calling for action following multiple shootings yesterday. In San Mateo County, California, authorities arrest a 67-year-old man accused of fatally shooting 7 people and critically injuring at least 1 other. In Kansas, 3 deputies and a highway patrol trooper were hurt, and a wanted suspect was killed in a shootout in Dodge City, according to a spokesperson for the Kansas Bureau of Investigation. Then, Johnstown, Pennsylvania, where police say a man was shot and killed by a suspect who ran from the scene, according to CNN affiliate WJAC-TV. Those were among the gun violence incidents reported.
The Senate passed bipartisan gun safety legislation last year, and that was a very welcome move. More should be done.
President Biden issued a statement on Monday calling on Congress to pass an assault weapons and high-capacity magazine ban and legislation that raises the minimum purchasing age to 21 years old. The Gun Violence Archive defines a mass shooting as an incident where at least 4 people, not including the suspect, are shot. According to the archive, there's been more than 36 mass shootings in the U.S. since the start of the year. Other California communities are also in shock as 2 more mass shootings take place in the state. In Half Moon Bay, a gunman opened fire, killing several people, followed by another in Oakland, where 1 was killed and 7 were injured. Isabel Rosales reports on the work to determine motives and the calls for action.
This is unbelievable. This is terrible.
Less than 2 days after a gunman opened fire on a dance studio in Monterey Park, killing at least 11 people, another California community rocked by gun violence.
We have never experienced anything like this.
A gunman killing at least 7 people at a mushroom farm and near a trucking facility in Half Moon Bay Monday. The sheriff says children were present at the scene.
Our hearts are torn out of our chests for all these individuals and families.
The arrest of 66-year-old Chun-Li Zhao playing out before TV cameras. Authorities say Zhao had legal possession of a semi-automatic weapon in a state with some of the strongest gun laws in the country.
All of the evidence we have points to this being the instance of workplace violence. The Mounted Mushroom Farm, the first location, is where the subject was employed.
The U.S. has now had more mass shootings in 2023 than at this point in any year on record, according to the Gun Violence Archive. President Joe Biden reacting to the latest mass shooting, calling on Congress to act quickly and ban assault weapons. As authorities work to determine the motives behind these mass shootings, communities are honoring lives stolen and trying to make sense of senseless acts. I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
The shooting in Oakland that left 1 person dead and 7 people injured is the 39th mass shooting in the United States in 2023, according to the Gun Violence Archive. Why lawmakers are now looking into competition in the industry and ticket prices. That story's still ahead.
And we have a problem weather system here that is going to affect our region, but the timing and impacts of that will be revealed during my full forecast after the break.
Thanks to viewers like you, we've been able to tell America's stories on this PBS station. Help us continue to tell these stories now and for future generations by including this station in your charitable plans.
Supporting this PBS station through a gift of securities is easy. To find out more, call the number on your screen or visit this website. Thank you.
does chemistry become biology? I'm David Pogue. In this NOVA miniseries, the blueprints of life, the molecules that make us,
That's only half the amount of fats in my body?
Absolutely.
and the chemistry
Cell division.
we live for.
It's a really cool enzyme because it makes life on Earth possible.
Beyond the elements, life on NOVA.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Now streaming on the PBS app, Antiques Road Trip.
I like it.
20 seasons.
Ooh, pretty good, yeah.
Of antiques experts.
Oh, stop it.
Scouring Britain in classic cars.
Yeah, baby.
On the hunt for hidden treasures.
I think I found something.
It's brilliant.
The goal? To make the biggest profit at auction.
You're some man.
There'll be worthy winners and valiant losers. Antiques Road Trip. Stream all episodes now with Passport on the PBS app.
Get out!
On Finding Your Roots, Cyndi Lauper discovers a rebel.
I know I'm always fighting the man. Now I know where it comes from.
Jamie Chung's ancestor is honored.
No way. That's my cousin.
Yeah.
And Danny Trejo's relatives journey to America.
I've got history.
And Danny, they were on foot, man.
That's heavy.
Finding Your Roots. New episode January 24th on PBS and the PBS app.
Good evening, everybody, and I am Newswatch weather forecaster Cam Kuzno, and despite the nice weather we've had today, unfortunately, we have a storm brewing down here towards Missouri. Over there, we have a low-pressure system that brought some severe weather to Texas today, and that's going to sort of spiral its way up towards the Midwest United States and eventually make its way into our region. You can see on our visible satellite image the sort of storms that form towards the cold front in the south there, and then the low pressure system, which is going to spiral its way up towards us through the Ozark Mountains and then eventually affect us by tonight. Currently, the National Weather Service has issued a winter weather advisory for the northwestern parts of our forecast region here. The winter weather advisory specifies specifically 1 to 4 inches of snow and wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour for these warned regions over here in blue. This winter weather advisory is set to expire tomorrow at 1 o'clock p.m. Tonight in Athens, though, we have an overnight low of 30, which will prove to be trouble when forecasting which type of precipitation we're going to get from this system. Anything a little bit warmer than 30, and we'll see potentially more freezing rain or even some rain. But we are expecting for it to start off as snow and then transition to rain as things get a little warmer. Across the nation tonight, you will see the impacts of this storm making its way through the Midwest with that rain in Chicago with 29 degrees, and cold temperatures will linger throughout the United States. Tomorrow, those cold temperatures are going to continue to linger, especially towards Detroit, Chicago, Pittsburgh. That area will see cloudy skies and the continuation of precipitation through the day. Tomorrow, our high temperature is expected to be a nice warm 53 degrees with a 100% chance of snow or freezing precipitation. The low tomorrow night is expected to be 31, right again in that problem range for frozen precipitation. This is because that low pressure system is going to make its way directly over us and going to cause a lot of trouble. Then by tomorrow night, it will pass through, and we will see the rain that we get during the day begin to transition into snow. And then by Thursday, we're just sort of getting the air that's being brought back around in that system, so the potential for some flurries exists as well. For the 7-day outlook, starting this weekend, we'll see a warming trend last through Friday and Saturday, even though we're going to have cloudy skies with temperatures at night sticking around the freezing mark. And then Sunday, we will have what is expected to be another cold front with a high of 44 and a 60% chance of some evening rain. Then by Monday, flurries will come back to town and we'll have a high of 38 and a nighttime low of 25 when we are expected to see those flurries. And then we can't quite escape from precipitation by Tuesday, where we see a 30% chance of rain, a high of 38 and a low of 34. And that is it for your full in-depth look at the weather. Now back to Joe with some news about Ticketmaster.
Thank you, Cam. Ticketing industry executives testifying before lawmakers on Capitol Hill over Ticketmaster's domination of the live entertainment ticketing industry. The Senate hearing comes after millions of fans were unable to purchase or access tickets for the upcoming Taylor Swift Eras Tour. Ticketmaster blames the mishandling on unprecedented demand, but lawmakers are now looking into competition in the industry and ticket prices, with the consumer at the front and center of the conversation. Mike Valerio has the details.
The ticketing and live entertainment markets lack competition.
The ticket industry's market practices under Senate scrutiny as lawmakers call for changes.
We need to make sure we have competition to bring prices down and bring innovation in and stop the fiascos.
Bipartisan backlash.
God, please!
2 months after the Taylor Swift ticketing fiasco reignited public scrutiny of the industry.
Ticketmaster learned valuable lessons from this on sale. In hindsight, there are several things we could have done better. And let me be clear, the Ticketmaster accepts its responsibility as being the first line of defense against bots in our industry.
Ticketmaster says the mishandling of Swift's ticket sales was due to unprecedented demand, as the company said its systems were hit with 3 times the amount of bot traffic they've ever experienced. But the debacle shed light on Ticketmaster's economic dominance over the market, to the detriment of consumers, lawmakers said, adding the company's Swift ticket handling is part of a larger problem.
Consolidation of power in the hands of few can create problems for the many.
Meantime, Ticketmaster rival SeatGeek claims Ticketmaster's power over the industry allows it to maintain monopolistic influence over the market.
As long as Live Nation remains both the dominant concert promoter and ticketer of major venues in the U.S., the industry will continue to lack competition and struggle.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Lucy Ware Webb was born here. As a young lady, as the wife of the governor, as the wife of the president of the United States, she's always the same person. Just a terrific lady. As residents of Chillicothe, we're very, very proud of her. To have a person of that character to represent this community, small as it is, in the White House.
Get out!
On Finding Your Roots, Cyndi Lauper discovers a rebel.
I know I'm always fighting the man. Now I know where it comes from.
Jamie Chung's ancestor is honored.
No way. That's my cousin.
Yeah.
And Danny Trejo's relatives journey to America.
I've got history.
And Danny, they were on foot, man.
That's heavy.
Finding Your Roots. New episode January 24th on PBS and the PBS app.
In these waters lies a complex world, a natural realm built on relationships. We are piecing together clues like a jigsaw puzzle, slowly revealing parts of the picture. Take a deep breath and discover the soul of the ocean.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
How does chemistry become biology? I'm David Pogue. In this Nova miniseries, the blueprints of life, the molecules that make us.
That's only half the amount of fats in my body.
Absolutely.
And the chemistry
Cell division.
we live for.
It's a really cool enzyme because it makes life on Earth possible.
Beyond the elements, life on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Welcome back and happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm Haley Hollinger. Basketball season is in full swing, and that means intense conference title races. Ohio men's basketball team has played in 2 in-conference games back-to-back, and tonight they look to play Western Michigan in yet another. The Bobcats won their game against the Central Michigan Chippewas 96-68 this past Saturday. Ohio's Miles Brown was the score leader for the Bobcats, putting up 27 points. The Chippewas score leader tied Brown, Brian Taylor scoring 27 points of his own. 3 other Ohio players got in double digits, which was ultimately a reason for their success. If the Bobcats can continue to share the ball tonight, the results should be similar to last game, and Western Michigan Broncos are 6-13 and currently on a 2-game losing streak. The Bobcats and the Broncos play at 7 p.m. in the Convocation Center tonight, but let's take a look at where they stand in the conference right now. Ohio is sitting at 8th in the conference right now, being 2-4 in conference and 10-9 overall. Western Michigan is also 2-4, which means they're tied with Ohio and Central Michigan for 8th place. And only 8 teams make it to the MAC tournament in March, so all 3 of these teams are going to be battling for a spot. Looking higher in the standings, Toledo and Ball State are tied for third, and there's a lot of ball to be played before those teams see each other again, but that will be a game to anticipate later in the season. The last tie in the MAC standings is between Buffalo and Northern Illinois. It'll be interesting to see how the conference race shakes, especially with this tiebreaker match tonight at 7. Switching over to another tight conference race, it's the TVC Ohio. Last night, the Meigs Marauders traveled to take the on-top dogs of the conference, the Athens Bulldogs. The Lady Marauders were down by 5 at the end of the first quarter, but from there, they were able to go on a 12-2 run. They were able to take a 29-15 lead going into the half and locked Athens down all game. The girls played together arguably the best they have all season, and they shared the ball on offense and brought in every rebound possible on defense. Meigs handed Athens their first in-conference loss, beating them 62-48. Now that Meigs win makes the TVC Ohio title race intense, and both NY and Athens now have one in-conference loss each. So what's crazy about that is they're going to see each other next week. The Marauders have also opened the door for them to potentially win a share of the title. They're sitting at 6-2 right now, but any loss from the Bulldogs or NY would be in their favor. River Valley is sitting at the middle of the pack, and Wellston, Vinton County, and the Alexander Spartans are also down there. The Lady Spartans actually previously were winless on this season, but they just got their first W against Vinton County last night. So that's crazy, and to see how this conference race shakes out is going to be crazy.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. It seems like any team right now can take over that top spot.
Yeah, you got NY, Athens, and Meigs all up there, and they're all going to be bouncing through those spots as the season comes to a close. So I'm really excited to see who's going to win it.
Now we're going to toss it over to final weather.
Thank you, Joe. And we have this awful low pressure system sort of spiraling its way through Missouri and making its way towards Ohio. That is going to be the cause of this winter weather advisory that is valid for the northwestern part of our viewing area and will last until tomorrow at 1:00 p.m. Tomorrow we are expecting a 100% chance of snow with a high temperature of 53 degrees and a low of 31 degrees. And for the 7-day outlook, we'll see a slight warming trend lasting through the weekend before we see a chance of precipitation again on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It doesn't really look like we're going to get a break, but that's it for the weather. Now back to you.
Thanks, Cam. Finally, tonight, a big happy birthday to Cincinnati Zoo's beloved hippo, Fiona, as she turns 6 today. Fiona gained international attention in 2017 after she was born prematurely, weighing a record 29 pounds at birth. That's really low, considering that hippos typically weigh about 100 pounds when they're born. Against all odds, Fiona thrived and is with us to celebrate her 6th birthday. Fiona fans can enter the Ultimate Hippo Getaway on the Cincinnati Zoo's website through the end of the month for a chance to meet Fiona and her family.
I don't know if you saw from that verse video, but they made her a little cake and they gave her lettuce, zucchini, and watermelon, all of her favorite foods. I'm kind of jealous. That looked really good.
I love it.
Thanks for watching. I'm Joe Collins.
And I'm Taylor Mondragon. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Support comes from Visit Athens County. More information can be found at AthensOhio.com. Athens, it's more than a place. Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and Parkersburg.